Agree or disagree, Spurs fans? We will make the playoffs.
Go, Spurs, go, 'cause the Giants stink.
Playoffs? We got to win a game first. Well, we did win a game. What an amazing overtime win by the Spurs over the Hawks last night. A double bonus, not only Spurs getting a win, but we want the Hawks to lose as much as possible because we have their unprotected pick next year. But I'll ask you guys, and I'll answer this question at the end, just how good can our San Antonio Spurs be now that they are finally healthy? Well, before I answer that, let's get into the article from Air Alamo talking about the starting lineup. The Spurs finally put their preseason projected lineup on the floor, and the results were exactly what fans hoped for. The first substitution came with about 6 minutes left in the opening period, and the score was 20-12 in favor of our Spurs, and they looked good on both sides of the ball. They played well together, the ball moved, the spacing was there, and they watched each other's backs. Some have gotten stubborn and have suggested that Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sohan should remain on the bench, but that was never going to happen, and I agree. It was not. They're part of our, shall we say, fantastic four projected starters over the next, hopefully, decade. Wemby, Sohan, Vassell, and Castle. Castle's coming off the bench right now, and I totally get it. Vassell should be in the starting lineup. And on top of that, San Antonio didn't pay Devin Vassell $135 million over 5 years to be a 16-point-per-game scorer off the bench, and fans shouldn't want that anyway. I know a lot of folks say next Ginobili. I don't think he's that type of player. Should be in the starting lineup, helping space the floor for Wemby. Say what you about Devin Vassell. Yes, he's inconsistent, but he is our best three-point shooter, and I think right now he's shooting about 43% from beyond the arc, so we need him out there for the floor spacing. Wemby, Vassell, Paul, Sohan, and Barnes are the best players on the team. Debatable. And the bench players aren't good enough to bring the consistency needed to help this team hit its peak this season. That's probably true. The Spurs could bring more production to the starting unit, and that's what Devin Vassell does. Absolutely. The other team has to respect him more than they respect Julian Champagnie or Stefan Castle due to his efficient shooting and versatile game. And I agree 100%. We've talked about it on this channel about, will Vassell be the Robin to Wemby's Batman? I don't know if he's going to be that guy, but at the very least, he's going to be our best third option on the team and consistently help the floor spacing. So as long as Devin is doing his thing, then that's only going to be a plus in the starting lineup. The coach can still stagger minutes so that Victor or Devin share minutes with the bench players, but the goal should always be to start games off on the best foot possible. And Spurs fans, how many times have we seen this year, first quarter, the Spurs are down by 10 or more? They got to be one of the worst first quarter teams in the NBA. Bottom three, I don't know for sure, but it certainly feels like that, doesn't it? Let's get moving on. A few weeks ago, an advanced stat was shared revealing that the Spurs starting lineup was among the best in the league. The problem with stats like that is that they can't tell you why a lineup is working so well. When you watch the games, it's easy to tell that most lineups with Victor Wembanyama on the floor look good because he's that good. And you know what? If you haven't seen this, there was an alley-oop from Wemby to himself. We're going to show it. Why not? On the fly editing here, let's pull it up. It was a great play, a fantastic play. Wemby just doing Wemby things. Are you kidding? Absolutely. And this was against Hunter, I believe. Check this out, guys. Yeah, that happened. Awesome. That was a holy-ish moment for me last night during the game. Anyway, moving right along. Wemby put up 42 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. I thought he had more blocks than that. Didn't it seem that way? 23 from Devin Vassell and 16 shots is what we want. At a minimum from him, I agree. He shot 71% from 3 and 56% from the field. That's a presence that he needs to be a starter every night. I concur. Sohan also showcased his worth with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And look, I know there's some criticism of Jeremy Sohan. His three-point shot is so wonky as all heck. But we need somebody that's going to bang in the paint and grab rebounds, grab offensive rebounds. Sohan's our best offensive rebounder on the team. I say it over and over again. And Wemby was 7 of 15 from 3 last night, which is phenomenal, especially when we consider his size. However, Wemby shooting that many threes means he's not going to be in a position to get any offensive rebounds in the paint if they don't, bounce out a mile. Sohan looked good last night. It took a complete effort from San Antonio's best players to pull this overtime game out 133-126. It's the first time the Spurs had their full roster together. I know we're still missing Pop, but as far as players, the first time, and they showed a ton of potential. One thing I'd like to add here that should be noted is the fourth quarter lineup and the overtime lineup was not the starting lineup. Take out Harrison Barnes and drop in Keldon Johnson. Should Keldon Johnson start over Barnes? debatable. Kelvin was a starter before. We need some energy off the bench, and I think that's why Kelvin's is coming off the bench, and he's getting his minutes anyway. And if he's going to close the games, then what's the difference? So when we look at this first team, we've established our starting lineup. It's finally come to fruition. The starting lineup we thought we would have for the whole season is finally healthy in there, which leaves us the primary bench of Bassey, Champagnie, Johnson, Castle, and Jones. That's a pretty good defensive unit. Castle's shown to play very, very, very good defense. Champagnie can be pretty good at defense. Bassey is an excellent rim protector. Kelvin and Trey have their moments, good and bad. But that's a good defensive unit. However, it leaves us with a severe lack of shooting from those 5 players, with only really Champagnie being the guy that's over 30%. Bassey doesn't shoot threes. And right now, Kelvin Johnson, Stephon Castle, Trey Jones are all sub 30% shooters. That's just not going to work in today's NBA. Now, obviously, we should not see all 5 of those guys on the court at once. I'd be shocked if we did. Although it should be noted, last night I could have sworn I saw CP3 and Trey Jones running around on the floor at the same time. And 2 guys around 6 feet. That shouldn't happen again, ever. Should it? I don't know. And then we have the rest of the roster, too. Before I answer the question, I didn't forget, we have now guys that are going to be little to no minutes, a.k.a. situational minutes. Is it a blowout? Is somebody hurt? Is somebody in foul trouble? And that's going to be Zach Collins, who has lost his spot at the backup center. I got to assume this is going to hurt his trade value, but at the very least, he'll be healthy. Can't get hurt if you're not playing, right? Mamu, sorry to the Mamu fans, right now, situational minutes. And then we have the young guys that, are they going to see the floor at all moving forward? Sidy Cissoko, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. You know my feelings on Malachi Branham. I like him. I wish things would work out with him, but he ain't him. I think he's not going to be a Spur after the end of the season. Sidy Cissoko, big knock on him is his lack of shooting. Well, he shot a few threes so far in garbage time, and he's made them, but he's not getting any opportunities. And with the front 10 in front of him, I don't think he's going to get any opportunities moving forward. He'll still be in the G League. And then Blake Wesley's going to be sitting right there next to Malachi Branham. He showed flashes himself of having potential, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. And I've said this on the channel before, if you hadn't heard it already from me, that we're going to have players that we like or that we think we see potential in that just aren't going to get playing time because of the guys in front of them. And with all the draft picks we have coming up over the next few years, the Spurs might look at a player like Malachi Branham or Blake Wesley and say, we've been working on you for 3 or 4 years. You know what? We got these other guys that we think they have more potential. We're going to bring these guys in and ship these guys out. So I think there's going to be a lot of fluctuation in the Spurs roster over the next few years, except for, of course, the key pieces like the 2 guys in this picture. So let me circle back to the question I asked way at the beginning. Just how good can our Spurs be when 100% healthy? Look, I know the Atlanta Hawks aren't world beaters, but they're a good team. They're probably going to be a playoff team, especially in the Eastern Conference. I think the Spurs, my original prediction was 35 to 40 wins. I did amend it after we, started looking good, and I'm going to stand by my amendment. I think this team will be 41 to 45 wins. This floor being 41 wins. I can't see us dropping below 500. I think there's too much talent on the team, but Wemby's too damn good for this team to be a below 500 team. And I think the peak is around 45. If it's more than that, then that's just all gravy. That's cherry on top. But, man, I said it before, I said it again. It's a good time to be a Spurs fan. We're seeing things come together. We're going to have those odd games where we're frustrated. And when Wemby's missing time, this team is not so good without Wemby. They're just not. Wemby's a difference maker, and he should be. He's the franchise player, a number 1 overall pick. He should be that much of a difference maker that when you're not on the floor, your team doesn't even look remotely like it does when you're on there, and that's what we have right now for our Spurs. So that's all I got. Hope you're having a great weekend. Drop a comment down below. Agree? Disagree? Hit the thumbs up if you'd like to become an official sponsor and member of TSR Sports and subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. I thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.
Go Spurs go.